Hey, guess what's happening on this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with your friend and host, Oscar Camejo.
If you're doing everything you can to lose weight, but somehow you still feel like you're just getting weaker, I want to tell you that this episode today is for you. You know, you may be getting on the scale every morning or a couple times a week, and it just seems like your weight is not going down. Maybe it's going down a little bit, but your energy feels like it's going down too. I want you to listen up. Your clothes may even feel better. You may feel like, you know what, even though my clothes are fitting better a little bit, I don't feel as stable. I'm still tired. I need you to stick with me and hear the rest of this episode, because you know what? A lot of people don't realize this. You can lose weight. Yeah, losing weight may not be an issue, but if you're losing weight and losing muscle at the same time, that's an issue. We don't want to be losing muscle. And when you're losing muscle, your body can feel different, not just smaller, not just thinner, but just feeling and looking different. You know, you may even notice that when you're walking up and down the steps, things are just feeling different. You might notice it when you're carrying your groceries in and out of the house, in and out of the car. You might even notice it when you're getting up from the couch. I mean, there's just pain. There's just discomfort. Yeah, you're losing weight, but why are you feeling uncomfortable? And then you start thinking, man, why do I feel weak? Now, let me make this real plain, because I've lived it and I know what you're going through. Early on in my journey, I was so hyper-focused on weight loss. I was so focused on the number on the scale. I was focusing on dropping my weight as well as my waist size. I was focused on getting results fast. And you know what? I lost so much weight that one day somebody asked me, they was like, Oscar, you okay? They said that because they were concerned that I looked like I was withering away. Matter of fact, they was like, you look like you're withering away. And you know what? That opened my eyes. I was offended at first because I'm like, man, I'm putting all this hard work and all you can say is that I'm withering away. But then you know what? I went to my doctor for a routine visit and my doctor pointed something out. He mentioned to me that in looking at my lab work, there was some signs of some muscle protein loss. And he broke it down and they were explaining it to me. And I was like, whoa, that's not good. That's when I realized something. I didn't want to be just losing weight. I wanted to build a healthy lifestyle. I wanted my profile to be healthy. Health includes strength. It has to include strength, not just losing a whole bunch of weight. So if you're focused on losing weight to manage prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, I want you to stick around to hear the rest of today's episode. It's very important. I'll be sharing some practical tips that will help you along the way as you process these things, as you process you being diagnosed with your condition. So I'm going to give you some simple steps, a simple process that you can follow. So stick around to hear the rest of today's episode. Let's go. Be sure to visit the website at www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com for access to free resources and other information that will help you along your journey. If you would like to submit a question or a comment about the show or to learn more about the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Welcome to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with me, your host, Oscar Camejo, helping diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. I want to thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time, I really appreciate you being here. If you've been following me for a while, as always, thank you for tuning in. I want you to do me a favor. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe, share this episode with somebody who can use this information. I don't take your commitment and your support lightly. You're spending time with me, so I just want to say I appreciate you. This episode is a part of my weekly series called the Lifestyle Behavior Series. The whole point of this series is real simple. We're not chasing quick fixes and how to lose weight in 30 days and all of that stuff. No, we're talking about building a lifestyle of habits that keep you healthy for real life. We're talking about your daily decisions. We're talking about your daily routines and your daily behaviors, because that's where the real change come from. That's where real changes happen. It's in the small things that we do every day. So after this episode, go and check out the others. I have a whole library of episodes that cover all kinds of topics. So now this episode follows the one I did recently on GLP-1 medications. You know, some of you may be using weight loss medications because you're thinking like, hey, you know what? This is an alternative that I need to consider. Some of you may not be on medications, and that's okay. Maybe you're thinking about it though. Now, again, please check out my last episode on GLP-1 to actually learn more. I went really in depth on GLP-1 medications, you know, some of the benefits, the pros and cons, and some of the things that you want to look out for, and even ask your doctor if you're considering getting on GLP-1s. Now, regardless if you're on weight loss meds or not, the message is clear. It's for everybody. Because the bigger issue is not about medication. The bigger issue is actually the mindset. And you know what? The mindset says, I just need to lose weight. Maybe that's your whole focus. Listen, Oscar, I just want to lose weight. I am obese, I'm overweight, and I just need to get this weight off of me so I can beat type 2 diabetes. I get you. Now, I'm telling you this, as someone who's been where you are, that mindset can lead you into a trap if you're not careful. And the trap is this. You get so hyper-focused on losing weight that you forget about strength and the importance of being strong. Strength does matter, folks. I'm telling you. You know, when people first start trying to become healthy, most of them measure progress one way, and that's the scale. We've all been there before. We use that scale as a barometer to say whether or not we're being successful or not. But let me say this. The scale can be motivating, but it also can be demotivating. It can be deflating. But the scale oftentimes is misleading because the scale can go up and it can go down for a bunch of reasons. You could be losing weight, and so the scale is going to go down, or it may go up. You may be losing water. You may also be losing muscle. So don't get caught up in what the numbers say on the scale. I'm not saying not to track it, but I'm saying don't get caught up in it. And if you don't have a plan, you might lose a mix of all three. You may not realize that, hey, yes, I'm losing fat. There may be water gain. There may be water loss, water gain, or whatnot. There's all kinds of things that you need to consider. So here's the problem. Fat and fat loss is what most people want. But muscle loss is what a lot of people accidentally get without even realizing it. Let me say something about fat and muscle. Did you know that fat takes up more space in your body than muscle? It actually does. 1 pound of fat looks different than 1 pound of lean muscle. They weigh the same, 1 pound, but they take up space in your body a whole lot differently. You're talking about fat may take up this amount of space, whereas muscle may only take up about this much of space. So prioritizing fat loss and building muscle strength is the key, folks. Now, here's the thing. If you lose muscle, a few things can happen. 1, you can start feeling weaker. Number 2, you can feel tired more often. Number 3, your body can feel softer even though you're smaller. And 4, it can get harder to keep weight off long term. And that's the key, right? We want to not only lose weight, but we want to keep the weight off. But see, muscle helps your body burn energy. So when you lose muscle, your body can slow down. That's why some people lose weight and then hit a wall. Or they may lose weight and then gain it all back and even feel worse later on. Now, I want you to listen to this. I'm not saying weight loss is bad. It's not, and it doesn't have to be. I'm just saying that weight loss without a plan can be risky. When I was 268 pounds, I wanted to get that weight off of me. I wanted to get the fat off of me. Because you know what? Yes, I wanted to lose the weight, but I realized that the goal is not just to shrink. The goal is to improve our health. You know, health includes strength. I need to reemphasize that. No matter what size you are, health has to include strength for various reasons. When I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and being overweight, I had to realize that my weight was impacting my blood sugar numbers. But you know what? I later on realized that muscle actually helps your body handle blood sugar. So let me break it down. When you eat, your food turns into fuel or sugar in your blood. That's blood glucose, right? That's normal. That's what the body's supposed to do. Now, your body is supposed to also move that sugar out of your bloodstream and into your cells and use it for energy. That's why food is fuel. Now, with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, that system doesn't work as smoothly. That's insulin resistance. Now, I don't want to throw some big science words at you and confuse you, but I want to keep it plain. So insulin is like a key, and the key opens a door, and that's your cell. So the cell is like a door. Now, when you're insulin resistant, that key doesn't work right. So sugar stays stuck in your bloodstream longer than it's supposed to. Now, here's where muscle comes in. Muscle is one of the main places your body actually stores and uses sugar for energy. Now, think of muscle like an extra storage space. The more space you have, the easier it is for your body to put that sugar somewhere. Now, if you lose muscle, though, you lose storage space. So now your body has fewer places to put that sugar. Now, what happens if you lose muscle? You also lose storage space. So now your body has fewer places to put that sugar. That's part of why muscle preservation matters. We have to preserve muscle. So it all started to click when I was losing all that weight. I lost over 80 pounds, actually 84 pounds. And I realized that, hey, I was feeling weaker. That's because my muscles weren't being preserved. Now, it's not just for looks that we want to build muscle, but we're doing it because we want our bodies to work efficiently. Now, here's another simple truth. Strength training also teaches your muscles to use sugar better. Not just use it just to be using it, but using it better and more efficiently. Not because you're doing something magical. There's nothing magical about it. Your body is going to adapt. You just have to give it an opportunity to do just that. Now, I need to say this clearly. Walking helps. Your cardio helps. Walking on the treadmill helps. Hiking helps. Listen, I love walking. I love hiking. I go on walks and hikes all the time. I love steady movement. I love doing it. You may love it as well. I want you to keep doing it. But cardio by itself, cardio alone is not the full plan, folks. Cardio is like keeping the engine running. It's something that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to incorporate that in your day-to-day. Strength training, though, is like strengthening the frame of the engine of the car. You need both. You need the cardio, but you also need the strength training. Now, cardio can help you burn energy in the moment, right? But strength training helps you to build the body that handles life better. As we get older, whether we're middle age, younger, or older, we need stronger muscles just for even handling everyday life. And when I say handling everyday life, I mean everyday life. I mean being able to pick up things easily. I mean being able to move without the fear of falling and stumbling. I mean being able to keep your balance. I mean being able to protect your joints. I see people at the gym all the time who are in their 70s and 80s. They're working on their strength. They're working on their balance. Strength is not just a gym thing, though. Strength is a life thing. It's something that you can do wherever you are. You can do it at home. You can do it even while you're sitting and watching television. Strength is a life thing. Keep that in mind. Now, muscle preservation keeps you from getting weaker as you lose weight. That's the important thing. We don't want to age and get weaker. We want to age and get stronger. Now, it means you're becoming stronger and a stronger version of yourself. Now, here's some signs that you're moving in the right direction. You're moving more steady with more energy. You feel more stable when you walk. You're not as sore from doing simple chores like doing the laundry or unpacking groceries or even tying your shoestrings. Your posture actually improves. You don't feel fragile. We're not supposed to be more fragile as we get older. We should be getting stronger. Now, sometimes the scale won't reflect that you're winning, and I get it. Your body is going to tell you whether or not you're winning or not. Your clothes will tell you whether or not you're winning or not. Your waistline, your blood sugar numbers, as they start to improve, they'll start to show you. But you know what? The more we put into practice, the day-to-day lifestyle changes to improve, the more and more results we're going to see. That's why I need you to stop judging your progress based on what you see on the scale. Because the scale doesn't tell you if you're strong or not. The scale just gives you math. It kind of just tells you where you are. Now, when I'm talking about strength training, I'm talking about strength training as medicine. So you can heal your body so that you can become stronger and enjoy the benefits of being healthy long term. Now, I know what you're saying. Some of you are already thinking, now, Oscar, I'm not trying to go to the gym. I'm not trying to become a gym rat. The gyms are too crowded. They're expensive, and when I go to the gym, I don't know what I'm doing. I started working with a trainer and it was just hard. It was difficult. Hey, folks, listen, I get it. Strength training is not about becoming a bodybuilder. It's actually about being able to live well. When I was overweight, again, 268 pounds, I hated walking up and down steps and feeling out of breath just after a few steps, folks. I'm telling you, it was an uncomfortable feeling. Knees hurt, back hurt, legs and heart just felt like they were just working overtime just to support my weight. Now, I want to tackle a few myths when it comes to weight loss and strength training and so forth. Here's myth number one. If I do strength training, I'm going to get bulky. Listen, folks, most people won't get bulky at all. And ladies, I know that's a big concern. I know you don't want big arms, so you don't have to worry. Building big muscle takes a very specific type of training style and a lot of food eating, a lot of calories, and a lot of time. And I know you're not trying to get big guns. I get it. What most people get from basic strength training is this actually. They get toned muscles. I think it's okay to be toned without looking like a bodybuilder. We get more strength, we get more movement, and we get better control. That's what it's all about. Now, that was myth number one. Now, myth number two, I need a gym. I've already dealt with that. Who says you need a gym? No, you don't. You don't need to go to a gym to be strong and to be healthy. A gym is just a tool. It's a resource. You could start at home. You could do some body weight counts, some resistance bands counts. You can work with some light dumbbells. Even a backpack counts, folks. Now, let's deal with myth number three. I don't know what I'm doing. Well, that's why we're keeping it simple. You don't need 25 exercises, folks, to be successful. You don't need a whole crazy routine that leaves you hurt and in pain. You just need a few basic movements that you can repeat and repeat often. All right, so I hope I've driven this home to you as far as the need for strength training. So let's get into some practical steps. Let's get into a plan. Strength training should never be painful, like I mentioned before. You don't need to destroy your body to be healthy. You don't need to always be in pain, always be sore. I want you to win with a plan, folks, that you can repeat. I'm talking about 2 days per week. I'm talking about a starting point. And you know what? This might surprise you. 2 days a week is enough to change the direction if you stay consistent. Now, here's what this looks like. 2 days that aren't back to back. I'm talking about like a Tuesday and a Friday, or maybe a Monday and a Thursday, whatever works based on your schedule. I'm pretty sure you can find 2 days out of the week where you can dedicate to strength training and repeat it week over week. Now, if you need to add a third day, you can, but let's do that later on. Let's start small. The key is to space it out. You need to space out your strength training. Why? So that your body can recover. Now, let's start off with a 5-minute warm-up for each day that you work out. Keep it simple. You can walk in place. You can march in place. You can move your shoulders. You can move your hips. You don't need a long warm-up. You're just getting your body prepped and primed for the workout. Now, here's about 6 moves that you can do. Now, your 6 moves are going to help you to move more efficiently. It's going to help you to build strength. Now, you can look these up on YouTube. You can Google them, look up some videos. There are a ton of examples out there online that you can watch that'll walk you through these exercises. I'm just going to give them to you so that you can consider. Okay, number 1, basically you're sitting in the chair and you're just standing. That's working on your legs. Number 2, second exercise, a glute bridge that helps your hips and glutes get stronger. Okay, number 3, wall push-ups. That's your push exercise for the week. Now, number 4, using some band rows or some backpack rows. That's your pull exercises for the week. So hopefully you're getting something out of this. Now, let's talk about number 5. That's your overhead press with lightweight or some resistance bands. Again, that's working on your shoulders. Now, number 6, what about carrying a backpack or some light weights and just walk with those? That's going to target your core and your stability. So now you see, I gave you 6 exercises that you can do twice a week. Do your warm-up first. That's important. Remember, we're talking about improving our movement, improving our stability, improving everything from the foundation, from the top to the bottom. Now, here's some sets and some reps that I want you to consider. Now, do 2 sets of each of these movements. Aim for about 8 to 12 reps. Now, here's the rule though. The last couple of reps should feel like work. Not pain, but work. You want to challenge yourself. Now, here's some adjustments that you need to make. If it hurts, adjust it. If it's too easy, adjust it as well. Make it a little bit more challenging. It's not about lifting heavy just to be lifting heavy. You also don't just want to get stuck with just doing light weights all the time. You want to progress. Again, it's all about progress, not perfection. Now, when it gets easy, when you've been doing it for a while and it gets easy, I want you to level up a little bit. Add a couple of reps or add a little more resistance. And you can also add a third set later on. Again, it's all about small steps that add up over time. Now, build yourself a routine. Do your twice a week routine. But as you become more proficient, start adding weights, start adding reps. You get what I'm saying? Now let's talk about what to expect. At first, you might get sore. That's normal. That soreness is actually your body adapting. That's why I want you to start light and build from there. There's times when I go to the gym and I could tell when somebody's there for the first time, they don't have a trainer, they don't have any guidance, and they just go and they get on these machines and they start lifting heavy. And then you don't see them for a while because it became uncomfortable. Now, here's a side note though. When you increase your protein, that's going to be important because your protein is going to help you to build and maintain muscle. Protein will help you also with recovery. When you're doing strength training and you're experiencing some soreness because you hadn't worked out in a while, you're going to have soreness, but that protein is going to help you. Now, I'm going to talk more about nutrition specifically for strength training at another time. But for right now, let's move on. When you start training for strength, you might also feel tired the first week because your body is adapting. This is going to happen. But over time, many people notice the opposite effect. They start feeling more energy because they're also eating better. They're being more proficient. They're feeling more stable. They're feeling stronger. And that's what I want you to focus on. Feeling energetic, feeling stronger, feeling more proficient. Because this is not just about just doing workouts to be doing workouts. This is about building a lifestyle. You know what, to be honest, I wish I had this information when I first started. When I went in and was going gung-ho in the gym and figuring out I needed to do all this other stuff, I was at a loss, folks. And then I start learning about the value of consistency, knowledge and consistency. Most people don't fail because the plan is wrong or the workout regimen is wrong. They actually fall short because the plan is way too complicated. So that's why I like to keep it real. That's why I want you to put it on your calendar. Remember, pick your 2 days and protect those 2 days, no matter what. Even if you only do 20 minutes, do it. It's okay. Because you know what? Consistency is what builds confidence. And that's what I need you to have is confidence. Like I said before, when that person asked me if I was okay when I had gotten down to 184 pounds, it shook me. When my doctor mentioned muscle protein loss, that got my attention, to be honest. I realized I could be losing weight, but losing strength as well. That wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't want to feel weak. I didn't want to feel lethargic, even though I was thin. I didn't want that. I wanted to be leaner. Yes. I wanted to be more athletic. Yes. But I wanted to be strong too. But I was so dialed into and so hyper-focused on losing all that weight because I was tired of carrying all that weight. And I want the same thing for you folks, because the win is not just in being to the place where you have a smaller body. The win is having a stronger body that handles blood sugar better. That's lifestyle. That's the lifestyle that we want to have. So that's what I'm all about, helping diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. You may not be dealing with type 2 diabetes. You may have pre-diabetes. You may just simply be overweight. Now, here's a challenge for you this week. Remember, like I said before, pick 2 strength sessions, same routine, both days. Keep walking if you're walking, but add strength to protect your foundation. There's people that I run with and I ask, hey, how much strength training are you doing? And they're not doing any strength training and they're prone to injury. If you're hyper-focused on weight loss, hear me and hear me clearly. I don't want you to wither away. I want you to build strength. Now, if this episode has helped you in any way, like I always ask, please share with somebody, because that somebody needs to hear that the scale isn't the whole story. So until next time, I want you to prepare yourself. Go back and look through the library of episodes that I have to get caught up and learn more and more about this lifestyle to reverse type 2 diabetes. Learn more about this lifestyle to improve your health. Folks, I want you to win. I want you to win big. My goal is to help people go from diagnosis to improved health. Now, that may take some time, but it will take consistency. It will take work, and it's okay. We can do hard things, folks. So in the next episode, we're going to continue with this series. We're going to be getting into talking about stress. We're going to talk about sleep. We're going to talk about all kinds of things that are going to help to lay the foundation for you so that you can actually achieve good health. Man, I wish I had this information when I was first diagnosed, but I didn't. I didn't have a support system. I didn't have what you have now. And that's a resource of someone who's actually been where you are. Yes, I read a lot online. I saw a lot of videos. But you know what, man, if I had someone who's been in my shoes telling me what I'm telling you now, man, I would have saved a lot of time, a lot of energy, a whole lot of money. I would have saved headache. I'm telling you. So enjoy and stay tuned for more on the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.